Welcome everyone to Campaigns and Concoctions, where we are a bunch of celebratory corsairs who like to drink and play TTRPGs.
Ooh.
Celebratory, not celibate.
Right.
Well, I'm celibate,
Half celibate.
but not by choice, but I am celibate.
Some people
really
at
been
this
trying.
table fuck.
Yeah. Several people.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to.
yeah, everyone wants to get down.
All of us have.
But thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure of cooperative storytelling and crafting of cocktails. It's been a minute, y'all. Whoa, thanks for being patient with us.
Did you forget that we're all
Chris has
degenerates?
got the physical evidence.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
I got receipts.
So does Jared.
Yes, he does.
Jared also does. Jared is not with
Jared's
us
most
today.
Also, Jared. Jared is not with us today. Feel better, buddy.
He's not dead.
We're going through some shit, and we love you and we care about you, and we hope that you're doing well soon.
I thought you were
Excited to be back. We are, if as always, if you want to engage with us in a more interactive manner, you can join us at our Discord, on Instagram, all the things, and all those links are below. Point. Also, look, hey, we have a new Campaigns and Concoctions headquarters.
Space.
This is spectacular and awesome, and thank you for setting that up, Nate and Dustin. Also, you can see all 5 of the people who are at the table. Look at Dustin joining us with his microphone. Say hi, Dustin.
Hi.
Is that plum wine in front of you, sir? Or what are you drinking?
Always.
Always.
Don't
All right.
We're gonna get the mouth to move in post.
Yeah.
No. You can already see in the interview with Dustin the intro series. You can see it. We've done it before. He has a chat. You can see it on the Instagram when they came to Grand Junction. So that's just the way it is. It's exciting. So what are we doing today, y'all? So what are we doing is we are having a reflection episode. We are reflecting on our recently completed Campaign 1.
We did it.
Super excited. And we are in the works of planning for Campaign 2. We're going to have some intermediate content for you between now and then. Really, really excited. We have got some really interesting ideas. We still haven't decided because, well, we're a bunch of human beings who all have things that we want to do, and everybody can't necessarily agree right away. So, hey. So, but before we roll into our reflections, I will start with what we're drinking first. I made a Tipperary, which is a gorgeous Irish whiskey drink. It is 1.5 ounces of Irish whiskey. I'm using Powers Gold Label. It is 1 ounce of sweet vermouth and then 1/2 ounce of green chartreuse with 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, stirred, and it's supposed to be with an orange peel, or in my case, I always use dehydrated fruit, but I'm out of dehydrated orange, so I am using a grapefruit, and it's actually quite lovely.
Very
That
nice.
sounds so good, man.
It does.
It does.
And let me tell you what, as much as I like Jameson, and I always have a bottle, Powers Gold Label is a delicious, cheaper Irish whiskey.
I don't know that I've tried that yet.
Yeah.
I stole that from Anders Ericsson, so
Yeah.
really good.
Not cheaper though. Red
Can I
breast
make
is
more
definitely not
noise
cheaper.
over
Well, Jim's pretty
It's
cheap.
definitely what I do is red breast, but it's definitely not cheaper either.
Yeah.
I made a cocktail. It's pretty fucking good. It's like 80% homemade shit. So it's 1.5 ounces of the fresh pineapple infused Kuleana Hui Hui Hawaiian silver rum. 1/4 ounce of Meyer lemon oleo, 1/2 ounce of gargoyle Poyer curacao, 5 drops of saline, 5 drops of chocolatl mole bitters, stirred and served up in a coupe with a rum infused pineapple chunk. It's fucking deadly. It does not taste like booze. It tastes like candy, and it is very, very good. And also probably going to get me smashed if I make another one.
So randomly, where'd the tiki bitters go? They disappeared.
I was looking for
I
it too.
stole them.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
I
stole
was
them.
assuming that.
That was
something.
me.
What else were you
Speaking of
drinking?
the internet, please,
Yeah.
if you want those tiki bitters to show up back at Campaigns and Concoctions headquarters,
Get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Or
Never
no,
trust the bald guy.
you shouldn't.
We're
He's
back
going to
in
steal your bitters.
make really good friends with one of us and just send us bitters.
There's that too.
Also-
I need more tiki bitters. I'm out. What else we got?
I made I did kind of a riff on the classic Brooklyn cocktail, because I had a riff on the classic Brooklyn cocktail at the Grand on Friday.
The Inglewood Grand, for those of you who don't know.
Yes,
Mhm.
the Inglewood Grand. Thank you, Merlin. So I wanted to try one with mezcal. So this is 2 ounces of I think it's 400 Anoas.
Canejos.
Canejos, 400
Yeah.
Canejos, the bunny mezcal.
Mm-hmm.
And then
400 rabbits.
Yes,
Yeah.
400 rabbits. That checks out. I speak a lot of Spanish.
Notice when I used it, I didn't attempt the Spanish word either. I
Right,
was just
yeah.
like 400 rabbits. That's what it is.
I'm also trying to remember
I mean, it is.
reading the
It
Spanish
is
word like
technically.
25 minutes ago. And I've had most of the cocktail at this point. So 2 ounces mezcal,
Same.
1 ounce. I subbed out my dry vermouth for the dry yuzu curacao because I thought that would be better.
Because it was correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Quarter ounce of maraschino liqueur, 3 dashes of Engo bitters, and that was it. It's pretty tasty. I'm not sad about it.
And I made a mocktail. Unless I already used this name, I want this one to be called the Retainer.
We haven't used that one, I'm pretty sure.
The
I don't
Retainer.
think so.
So the Retainer is 1.5 ounces of Seedlips Grove NA Spirit.
Love that one.
It's got 1 ounce of a black raspberry syrup I made last night. It has a few herbs in it. One of them is Chinese 5 spice, ginger, and there was a third one, red pepper flakes. I put a few red pepper
Ooh.
flakes in there.
Also
Um,
delightful.
So I made that syrup. I brought it tonight. It's got soda water. It's got three quarters of an ounce of lemon juice and 2 droppers of the umami bitters.
Oh, hell yeah.
hmm And then I tahined the rim. You can't tell now, but the picture's on the Discord. point. But yeah, the Retainer's pretty freaking special. I like it quite a bit.
Mhm.
I had dinner last night with a friend from Denver who was over here for our Scottish Highland Games, and he was very appreciative of the mocktails that we started adding because he doesn't drink anymore, and he was very happy that we added it. He did love he was very complimentary of the podcast. He was like, "You guys are idiots, just like we are." Like, yeah, we are.
That's our whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the only gimmick we've got.
Yeah, idiots on the internet.
We are the most unpolished, idiotic D&D podcast on the planet.
At least
You are welcome.
John and I, on our way
I'll
over
take
here,
that
were
award.
talking about how the reason we're doing a recording like this is because, like, we just say stupid shit into a microphone. Sometimes we play D&D.
yeah.
Mhm.
But we're always going to say stupid shit, so you can always record
So
it.
we might as well
The
record.
only redeeming quality I think on my end is that I have a good voice for radio. I
You
also
do.
have a face for radio though
You
too.
Yeah.
So
It's a voice
Before
and
we
face
do
for
go
radio
on,
group.
We've already, like I said, I don't have a cocktail tonight. I am going to shout out the Law's tasting room bar
Yeah.
thing.
Spirit Sanctuary.
Yeah,
Whiskey Sanctuary.
Whiskey Sanctuary.
yeah.
Why are you looking over there, guys? Dustin's up here.
There is.
Ah,
I was thinking. I was trying to remember the actual name of what we were talking about.
That's right.
I have
They have
Dennis
a
over
cocktail there
Sound.
that is called Revelations. It is a alcoholic liquid orange creamsicle.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking delicious.
that sounds perfect.
They also have another one I can't remember the name of right now.
The Jungle Bird.
Yes, the Jungle Bird that is high C fruit punch.
Nice. Beautiful.
Their Fear of the Dark. Their take on an espresso martini is also fantastic.
Nice. Nice.
Which also amused me that Nate had a glass and a highball. Well, he got a old fashioned and the Fear of the Dark, which is an espresso martini. I had the 2 pretty colorful drinks.
Yeah, that checks
Yes.
out. Yeah. That's
I love it.
Their smoke machine was working, so I had them redo the rum old fashioned that
Oh,
I had the
nice.
first time because
Very
I could
nice.
smoke it this time.
yeah.
Ooh.
That's
and I will
fun.
continue to have the colorful, pretty drinks every time I go there.
Yeah.
They're fucking delicious.
Yep.
As we're shouting out, I've got a we've given them a shout out before, especially after con, but SoCo Social House here in Grand Junction.
Mhm.
Alex and Kirk and Chris and that whole crew there I am currently engaged with them right now to do some things. We may be doing an event with them for Grand Junction Comic Con coming up. They are very excited to be a part of the team, and they're not sponsored. They're just affiliated. But like Alex is a member of the Discord. I think one of their new bartenders joined recently. We've gotten big enough that we don't know everybody who's in the Discord anymore.
Right.
So, which I don't know.
Conversation we had this
I don't know
week.
how I feel about that.
I was like, oh, people we don't know. Man, I have to make new rules. Shit.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyone else got any shout outs that we want to give before we roll into our cool shit?
There's a wine shop on University and Hampton, and I can never remember the name of it, but it's behind the fucking King Supers right there.
Mm-hmm. Next
And-
door to Mod Market right there.
Yep, right next door to Mod Market.
I was in that parking lot yesterday.
Cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. I was there literally a few hours ago. They are some of the most helpful wine shop staff I've ever interacted with in my life. They will go above and beyond to help you find something that you like, even if you have no vocabulary for wine, which is super nice and super helpful. They're super into the idea of people enjoying wine. And they don't give a fuck what you drink as long as you have fun doing it. So go stop by there.
Yeah,
And,
University and Broadway.
We think it's
Yep.
Kent
University
Cellars.
of Hamburg.
Grant Cellars, that's it. Yeah.
Kent.
Nope.
Oh, Kent
Kent
Cellars. Yeah.
Cellars.
Kent
Based
Cellars.
on
I knew it was something
Yeah.
Cellars.
just go have dinner at Osteria Alberico,
Yeah.
which is the same parking lot, and
and then
it'll
pop
be great.
in there for
And then
wine.
pop
and
in there
take
for
off.
wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, as we will continually say, shop local, please. Drink local.
Yep. Drink local.
Support your local places to do anything. It's always better for your community and for your imbibing abilities. So awesome. That is great. We love you all.
I haven't
So-
been. I need to go back, but Divino Liquors on just South Broadway. I forget the cross
Yeah,
street.
it's.
Is-
I think it's just north of
It's across the street from.
It's before you get to Mississippi.
All the booze was
If you're going north.
No, it's not. It's after.
Google it.
Yeah.
Google it.
Divino Liquors. They're great. They were also the first account for Law's Whiskey when they
Oh,
released.
Nice.
So I
That's
can
cool.
remember picking up a batch one bottle from them because they
Fuck
were
yeah.
the only ones carrying it at the time.
It's very cool.
Great place. Love the people. I need to go back. It's farther north now.
Sweet.
That'll happen.
Well, with that being said, are you all ready to talk about campaign 1?
I guess we have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and roll for initiative.
What happened in campaign?
Right. And this is going to be the order. We're going to go from high to low, the order in which everyone answers the questions.
Nice.
So I need you
I feel
guys
like
to
this is
keep
just
track.
the first question. Like
I
I,
thought
feel
it
like
was
this is
that.
the first
Was it
question.
not?
We re-roll before
Was it not
each
that?
question
I
because
can
there's
tell.
more
I can
rollies
tell.
and
Yeah.
more chances for
More rollies.
chaos.
I think I
Chaos.
reroll. I think I reroll.
Rollies, 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 rollies.
Haha.
I just got a roly. I can't sing that before we'll get copyrighted. DCMA strike, bitches. All right. So you guys, if you've got keep track of everything, what's your initiatives? 20 to 25?
Hang on. That was not.
Yeah, grab the
We
board.
don't have the board out. We don't have the board out. We know where the board is.
Yes.
We're in a new
because it's
space.
over here.
Okay,
We
you found out
are
way
in a
faster
new
than I
space.
wanted it to.
I know, right? I was hoping this would take a while.
off.
Okay.
All right. So do we have any 20 to 25?
I don't think so.
What's
15 to
everyone's
20.
initiative modifier?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we using
How
for
many
it?
drinks you
Good
had
point.
so far today?
No initiative modifier. So 15 to 20.
19.
19 for John.
Getting there.
And we're gonna have to roll after each question.
Yeah.
Of course we are.
Okay.
Absolutely. Please. I cannot answer everything first.
10, 15.
That's terrible to me.
13.
Curtis and I both rolled 12s.
Okay, I'll let you guys figure that out. And then what do you get, Dustin?
6.
You gotta roll again.
Rollies.
You guys gotta roll for who goes first between the two of you.
7.
Natural 20, motherfucker.
Oh!
20. This is why I wanted rollies.
I'm also already.
Yeah, most of us are already out of stuff. So we'll answer one question, take a break so we can get more booze
Yep.
and come back.
That's why I brought a backup booze.
Backup booze.
Yeah.
Gotta have a backup booze.
Special bottle for a local here. So this is Copper and Cast bourbon. This is a special edition for one of my local liquor stores. This is amazing.
Nice.
fuck am I supposed to do with this, Dustin? It's
You,
only one
you all,
drink.
you all have heard of dice goblins. Have you heard of drink goblins?
Yes.
I have.
I almost took a picture of it. I had 4 drinks in front of me when I sat at the research help desk this week at one point.
Look,
Now they were all gone very quickly. But all right. So first up, we're going to do kind of a general question. What are your thoughts on the completion of campaign 1?
repeat.
What are your thoughts about the completion of campaign 1?
I'm not entirely sure that I understand the question, and I'm the first one answering. So I need
Just how do you feel? Like we haven't, as we mentioned this in our last episode, right? We don't finish campaigns very often in this group. It's just the nature of how it goes. Like we also had some very emotional journeys. I think we told a fucking great story. So how do you fucking feel?
I mean, so it's both, right? I feel both. I feel super accomplished in that we actually finished a campaign, but also like there's a bittersweetness to it, you know? Like I'm a little bit sad that we're not, you know, like gonna finish out some of the stories of some of the characters. I'm never gonna get to see us find Sid's lover, or I don't even know if it actually
Whatever.
was her lover, her person. You know, I'm never going to find out what that person was to Sid, probably, right? Unless Jared tells me.
What's
But I'm
that?
never gonna
Jared
do
was
it
very
in-game.
vague.
Yeah,
Viewers
very
at home,
vague.
and Jared, if you're listening
And
to this.
Jared, yeah, also you directly, specifically. But like, yeah, I mean, like, there's tons of stories. Never get to find out what happens with Patrice and his patron /
God.
deity, you know. So it's an interesting kind of like very satisfying to complete a campaign. A little bit bittersweet in that, you know, at least for now, these characters are done. You know,
Nate?
who's next?
Yes and no. Like I'm like, yay, we finished, and like Stark was a motivating part of it, but I'm also like, that's it.
Yeah,
But we have so much more to do, and I
Mhm.
didn't punch enough things.
not even a single. Well, I guess a couple gods, technically speaking.
I mean, the God of Gods.
Yeah,
But
Or
yeah,
he at least offered to let you punch.
yeah.
It's weird because it's also tied up in with a whole lot of other chaos going on at the time of finishing it up. So it's like
Mhm.
I don't know exactly how I feel. I'm both like, we did it, and that was it.
Aww.
Is
Yeah.
there more? Do I want more? I don't know if I want more.
Right.
Okay.
Do I want to do something new? Or yeah.
Matt?
So it's interesting for me because I think I'm carrying a little bit different perspective into this than maybe the rest of the group, right? Like I've finished 2 campaigns with you DMing, in addition to everything that I've done with, you know, kind of the core group here, which is, right. I mean, Jared was kind of our most recent addition to this table. So it's interesting because, and I right, like I very much like I felt like we told a great story,
Mhm.
and I wasn't necessarily like dying to be done telling that story, and I'm imagining if we're talking about like where characters ended at some point, I'll probably dive into this a little bit more, but I was kind of over SOA in that story at that point.
Mhm.
And that was just like a lot of me, like how I built the character, hitting a lot of the character beats that I wanted to hit with that character pretty early on in the campaign, right? And it was a lot of it was tied to her dip into Warlock. Like that was a very intentional, planned thing. And then after like getting that character build online, because I built that character a little more mechanically than I maybe have other characters in the past. Not really having a whole lot of like motivation for like what she was doing and her place in the group, right? So I thought we told a great story,
Mhm.
and I was like super engaged in the story, but also it was a lot of like just kind of like being along for the ride because, you know, holy fuck, what the fuck is Sark? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's way more interesting than me just wanting to go like, hey, let's do some fucking piracy over here because these people suck,
Mhm.
which is most of what I had left is like unresolved in that character's backstory.
Right.
So yeah, it's like I feel like we told a great story. I'm happy to I'm happy to move on to something else just from like if playing the same character in D&D for 2 years is 3 years almost.
Well, we officially passed a podcast of 3 years, a month and a half.
Yeah, that's like a lot of time to spend with a character,
Mm-hmm.
and I
It is.
loved it, right?
Yeah.
But like I'm also like ready to move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. Fully agree with that.
Curtis.
I think that when the day was the last day of the campaign, I was kind of like, oh, and now I'm like I feel that I do feel a strong sense of accomplishment.
Mhm.
I do feel like that there's only so many things in your life that you put that much effort into, or put that much time into, or put that much thought, or
Years.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah. And I'm not even the dungeon master.
Right.
So like, you know, like there's a lot there, and even though I would say it was a lot of fun to explore aspects of Patrice that are parts of myself, or at least younger parts of myself. Looking at him as a naive young man with starry eyes about being a missionary and spreading the good word was, you know, it was interesting to look back on that and think about those feelings and kind of play out some of those feelings here, you know, processing. So it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the way that Patrice, even though he doesn't seem to fit in anywhere, he fit in with this crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that his and especially with SOA, it is like,
Mhm.
like it was
We had
really
some fun.
nice that we could have. We were talking about it afterwards. Like they were going to be, they're going to be like, why the hell do those people get along?
Right.
Like people are going to look at it from the outside and be like, why the hell are they even? What odd couple is that, and why? And it's because of the circumstances of our story that can only happen
Right.
when those characters have experienced the same types of stress and
It's
difficulty.
trauma bonding, right? It's trauma
Yeah.
bonding.
bonding.
Yeah,
Exactly,
Trauma
yeah.
bonding there.
Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully we don't have to trauma bond with each other to grow our bonds. We can just play it in game.
Yeah.
Need more than we already do.
Yeah,
I was gonna
we
say,
already got enough.
have done that.
Yeah, we
What
got
are you
enough
talking about?
trauma.
We've all done that already together.
I think the only people I've trauma bonded more with you than with you guys are some of my old teammates. So,
Right. Where you were literally getting shot at.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only
Yeah.
thing heavy. Yeah.
So, all right, Dustin, what you got?
It's getting shot at playing D&D.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, trust me, I've worked through a lot of that shit from that through D&D. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I, like everybody else, got some kind of mixed feelings about it. Because, yeah, like you said, we've been playing this same game for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been playing games together longer than that
Right.
Mhm.
by a while. But
If I double that again. Yeah. Pretty much.
yeah, it's a long time to play the same story, tell the same story. But also at the same time, to steal a phrase from one of my favorite streamers, I am not a lore goblin, I am a lore dragon.
Right. Yeah.
I want all of the lore
Yeah. Horde.
Mhm.
on everything.
Yeah.
So the idea of getting to explore something else and learn new things about the world that I never would have had a chance to learn playing L is kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like John said, we're going to miss out on some of the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know where Sid's story is going to go chasing her friend.
That's it.
I don't know. Yeah.
So,
and I know for me that's probably one of the hardest things as a DM, right? Like as we wrap up a story, like I don't always want to finish everyone's story arc, right? Like, because that, I feel like that feels almost too artificial, right? Like it's one of those things, like as you watch other more polished and professional D&D podcasts, you know, there's always that verisimilitude of the characters could still be going on forward, like they're still living in a world even though you're not engaging with them anymore. And that's kind of like one of the things I don't know, Matt, I feel like I do that in our other table too, you know.
Well, I actually wanted to ask you, right, because like as you're answering this question, right, like this is the first time you've done it where it's, you know, been out in the public, where people can listen to it and engage with it like this, but this is the third campaign you've created, like you've completed in your own setting.
Yeah.
Right? Across two tables. So like, how does that maybe change your view on wrapping up a campaign? Or
good question.
You know,
good question,
like I think there's like another level of nuance there with you, because you've gotten across the finish line multiple times in this universe as a DM, and everything's kind of happened, you know, subsequently after that.
I think for me, one of the biggest things is, one, I've gotten better at it because I've gotten to the point where I feel comfortable, where I can not feel guilty for not giving my players everything they may have wanted as a player, right? Like when we finished that first game with, you know, Matt, like there was four players, and I really had strived to give everyone the ending that they could. And it felt really awkward when we ended, because it was kind of like it didn't really feel like it was. But the second time was a lot better, and I feel like this one, it felt like it ended abruptly, like in the time frame. But I felt like it was like there was still, the story was still going to continue, but it just wasn't going to be with us. Yeah. So like for me, I think one of the things is I want all of my players to have a different version of the ending of the story. Right? Like what is their character going to do? What are their characters going to do together? You know, what's, you know, all of those things. So I think the easiest thing for me on that one is just knowing that you're never going to finish the story, but because I play in the exact same world at just different times, and like I don't like to go back. I always like to go forward. So we will always have a chance for those characters to come back.
Sure.
Right. And it will always be a conversation between me and the player as well as the character, right? So it's like, hey, man, I want to bring we're going to go to a place where your character may be. Let's talk about it, right? That way, like, I mean, when Foster popped up, like, I didn't talk to Matt about it, but that's because I knew the character well enough that, like, everything made sense, that I played it. I feel like Matt would have played it, and it really came across pretty well, you know? So it's just like one of those things I want them there to be opportunities for players to, or for characters to reappear.
So one thing that I both love and hate about not knowing the rest of the story is, this was something that I had to talk with my therapist about when I finally was able to put a label on it. And my therapist actually was the one who gave me the word. We did a session, and he was like, you're describing a thing and there's a word for it, but I got to look it up. Because it's not something that, like, he's like, I haven't talked with anybody about it since, like, school, you know? And he came back afterwards, like 2 weeks later, came back to my next session. And before he even let me start talking about my week, he was like, real quick, it's called thanatophobia. And I actually had to look it up as well, again, because I can never remember it. It's called thanatophobia. And it's the fear of not knowing what happens to the rest of the world after you die. It's not the fear of not knowing what happens to you after you die. It's not knowing the rest of the story of your friends, your family, and humanity. Because you die and then you don't get to see the rest of what happens in the world.
The fear of eternal FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally eternal FOMO. It's literally
so
eternal
glad you
FOMO.
said that.
Oh,
Damn,
That's exactly what it is.
Oh,
Ain't that fucked up?
we got a fucking video title right there.
Right? Yeah. Woo.
And let me tell you what, as a DM, as much as that sucks for you, John,
Yeah.
that makes me feel really good, right? Because it means
that's where sweetness comes in. I love that I am, like, torn up about the fact that I don't know what will happen. And it's like, it's a big hang up for me in modern storytelling that so often there is a neat little bow put on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So often we do get the finalized, finished, neat and tidy ending to the story. And that's just not how life is. And if art is supposed to imitate life, then all of these stories are doing a bad job because they give us a tidy little ending. And having a messy, unfinished, uncertain, open-ended ending is much more real to the human experience, in my opinion. But maybe
But it doesn't sell tickets. Sadly.
I honestly think it would.
I disagree. We sell tickets. We sell tickets.
No, that's
Right?
true. That's true. I would say there's certain media that I've enjoyed that end like that, where they are vague, where you don't know what's going to happen. Like I like the movie Funny People, and it's like panned. It's Adam Sandler being dramatic. It's fantastic.
Right? Yeah.
And the movie just kind of like has like a weird third act, and like he just kind of like, so what now? And he's like, I don't know. I guess I keep living. And
Right.
like, or like Memento, like people
Yes.
hate the fact that at the end of
There's
Memento
no
they
ending.
don't know.
Yeah. There's no ending to the movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
I
I
think-
love Memento.
Yes.
On-
it's one of my
I
favorite
love the
movies.
ending
Yeah,
because I
same.
don't know.
It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at, right, like our current media state, it's obsessed with reboots and sequels
Yeah.
and reboots and sequels, and
Yeah.
so many of these stories, I don't need more of, right? And I
Yeah.
think I want more of them as a fan.
Right.
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
acknowledge that I am part of that problem, right? Like
I
I
will-
want more Star Wars.
I will watch every Star Wars.
Absolutely.
I will
Right?
watch every
But,
Star
like,
Wars they put out.
Would my life be better or worse if Star Wars had just stopped after Return of the Jedi? Maybe better.
Yeah, maybe.
It definitely would be worse,
Clone Wars.
right?
Clone Wars.
It's worse.
But
I
the
mean-
thing is, that I think that's what it is to wrap all of that into a bow. What it is that the commercialization of media, right, has
Yeah.
created this formulaic, tropey bullshit, but that's why things like this environment, that's why TTRPG podcasts become a thing. That's why we can tell these stories. It's like that's why we can have I'm not placing myself at their same level, but we can have the three types of DMs of Matt Mercer, Brindley Mulligan, and me.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can have two gorgeously polished and wonderful people, and then me, and then people still want to hear me tell that story, right? So it's like it's there and it's great and I love it. So it's going to be super awesome as we continue to tell these stories. So right there, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for our first bit. We're going to take a break. I am cocktailless, and I think everyone else is too. So
It's
Yeah.
real sad over here.
It
it's
is.
very sad. So let's
Nothing
just
but
stick around. We'll be back. It'll be 30 seconds for you, and then we'll be back to talk more about Campaign 1.
30 seconds. Do we have advertising?
Welcome back to Campaigns and Concoctions, where we have decided that ADHD is the best thing you could ever have for a workout.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we drinking?
How'd you guys like the advertising? During the break?
The number of trips I walk back through a door frame to remember what the fuck I was doing 30 seconds ago.
Speaking of advertisements, shout out because we've totally forgot to try and work with them. But so I've got this gorgeous hand etched glass from Ivory Owl
Yeah.
Creations. I don't know if you could, there we go. Check out their Facebook page. The ladies there are amazing. So go support a Colorado company. They're awesome. So
Super
what are we drinking?
I made the exact same thing I made last time, except I did the Condesa Prickly Pear Orange Blossom Gin instead of Mezcal, and it's also real nice.
It is super good.
And I did a samesies, and I traded out the seed lip for a different seed lip. This time I used
Spice?
Spice. Last time I used Grove.
The spice is pretty gangster shit.
And then Nate, I think I saw you made something.
I did. I'm trying to remember what I did, so I'm typing it into Discord. Hang on.
So the mommy
What
bitters,
ADHD?
it's worth it. Like they cost like $30 or whatever for that tiny bottle.
Yeah, 30 or 40.
It's good. It's good.
This is
It's money
big.
well spent. Yeah.
This is Big L.
I'm drinking the Kirkland
Mm.
Black Cherry Hard Seltzer High Noon knockoff, and it's better than High Noon.
Just look how beautiful that Tatooine mid-century modern style art is on that glass. It's all hand etched. Ivory Owl. Ivory Owl.
They really missed the smoke after Uncle Owen and Aunt Brew get whacked.
Yeah.
That's my note on that glassware.
Yep.
Yeah, where are the corpses?
Yeah.
This is before. This is the before.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if they could do it where after you finish drinking, that's when the after came.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Temperature shifting glassware.
That's expensive.
Patented. I just patented it right now.
That's expensive.
What was the quote?
That's how patents work.
Yep.
What was
I
Yeah, that's-
declare.
There's not an
patency.
office where you have to find it.
What was what's the quote from A New Hope where they're asking Luke if he knows who Obi-Wan Kenobi is, and he's like, "Nope, never heard of him. I'll ask my uncle Ben Kenobi about him though." Like,
Maybe it needs old Ben.
yeah,
So I made something that I called I don't know, but it's pink.
very
It is pink.
It is pink.
So it has 1
Just
ounce
salmon.
of the 400 rabbits. Mezcal? Tequila?
Mezcal.
Mezcal.
Let's go.
1 ounce of Marianne's Promise rum, which is from Laws. 3/4 of an ounce of the Pina infused rum, because that's what I thought I was pouring when I put a half ounce of lemon in it.
Whoops.
Half ounce of orgeat and 2 dashes of Peychaud bitters. Shaken, poured over a large cube, which was a bad idea for the glass size because I had to sip some and then finish pouring.
Well, it turned out great.
It looked really nice.
Cuatro Centro Conejos.
Great idea.
There you go. Cuatro Centros Conejos.
That's the name of the mezcal.
Still not going to happen.
That's if you pronounce it in Spanish.
Yeah, I was trying to remember how to say Contracentros earlier.
A lot of funny. A lot of funny's mezcal.
There's a reason why I use the square brackets when I type in rabbits, because I know it's not the correct word, but you'll get my meaning.
All right.
Oh, it's delicious the second time too.
With all of that, so now we're going to go into some other questions. So if everyone could please roll for initiative again.
We switched.
Rollies,
Curtis
rollies,
and I
rollies,
switched D20s because
rollies.
he's borrowing one of mine.
Great. I will be last this time.
Curtis?
All right, got any 50 to 20s?
15 to 20?
We can take
I have a 19. I have a 19.
There we go.
I have an 18.
This is the other reason why I wanted rollies, because everyone is different.
Yeah, 10 to 15.
We're doing great.
5 to 10.
Oh.
Holy shit. 1 to 5.
4, 3.
Natural motherfucking 1. Drink, motherfucking drink.
I'm gonna hop on this grenade for Curtis because he's not drinking right now. You didn't understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I was gonna abandon you, but I can't.
All right, so first up, Matt, to you.
Woo!
The question is, how did your character or the concept of your character change over the course of the campaign?
Okay, so it's interesting, right? Because I feel like starting this campaign, and I'm probably going to repeat some stuff that I said in the last question, so apologies for that, y'all. Starting this campaign, I had like a pretty solid concept of like where I wanted to take SOA to kind of get her to that point where she's making the deal with Levinar, right? Like becoming a protector of Haven, and like that was like a goal. That was like a journey that I really built into the character's backstory. I really wanted to kind of walk her through. Going into it, I knew there's going to be like a little bit of like antagonism with Patrice, where it's like, no, you don't understand who the fuck our god is. I do. Like this has been like the oral history of like my family and my
That was our
like,
best
my
role play of the
culture.
whole campaign.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
It was
Right?
good.
So I had that in mind, right? And then one of the things I really struggled with was, you know, the way the campaign went really took us away from Haven, right? And so having built this character to kind of like go on this journey, and she got to the end of that journey, but at the end of that journey, like seeing herself as like a protector of her homeland, right? Like that was very much something that's there. There were a lot of like
I'm gonna help.
colonialist forces that we had kind of put into the world that we didn't really interact with a whole lot. Going back to, because it happens, right? Like, we're not going to get to everything, right? Because I'm going to write fucking 15 things for the DM to play with, and he's going to get to 3 of them because everybody at this table is doing that, and there's 7 of us, you know?
Yeah.
So I really struggled with like what I was doing with this character now that I got her to that point, because we weren't on her home turf that she was supposed to be protecting, right? And it was like I felt like she was a little bit along for the ride, and I didn't like so that was something that like really evolved with this character for me, right? Like just trying to figure out like who she was in the group, and you know, kind of really leaning on her relationship with Patrice and Skeld as why she was there, right? Because she needed to feel like it was somewhere she was supposed to be, because we weren't kind of in the space that I had. It was the direction that Matt thought the campaign was going, right? And it didn't happen, and that's fine. That's how every campaign of Dungeons and Dragons I've ever played in my life has been.
Same.
That's the way it should go.
But at the same time, you know, having to figure out what those the characters' motivations were, and like how to tie her back into the story when I'd already hit a lot. I hit a lot of those beats really, really early on. So yeah, that was kind of that was a little bit of a struggle for me, because you know, the other characters I've played like to this point, like it's a smaller table, or it was a smaller table, so they were a little more like of a driving force personality wise. And it's also less big personalities. So
Hey,
yeah. Right. I can run Rudshaw over the other table for fucking 3 weeks if I need to. Right. Like not because it does anything for the story. It's just good for Matt's mental health.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's good for Morgan's mental health too, because sometimes those guys drive me nuts. I love you. I love you, Vagina Mapalogs.
And they're not listening to this, so.
Yeah, they're not, but I'm still going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Dustin, what you got?
L didn't really come in with. He came into the campaign with a fairly vague goal. So it was interesting to see where the campaign took him. Especially at the end of the campaign, it kind of felt like the first few sessions where the like high school kid that's just showing up on the college campus for the first day has a lot of ideas and fuck all idea about how to do anything with them.
That's fair.
And for as much as he kind of pushed the direction of the campaign, I also felt like he was kind of a passive character in what was happening.
Yeah.
More in that he was reacting to everything, and that's what was pushing, instead of him having an actual plan and goals.
He kind of provided direction through understanding what he was looking at more than having an idea of what should be done about it.
100%.
Yeah. But I also feel like the end of the campaign was really only the like pointing him in the direction of the first steps of his actual journey. Because like Morgan, you and I talked about a direction that L was planning, which never showed up in the game, and may or may not ever show up in the world.
It wasn't from lack of me at trying. I will say that.
Right. It's also funny because I feel like L and SOA had like a little bit of like sidekick energy going on in Sark and Skeld storylines, but also like they're fucking teenagers. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally
Like-
teenagers.
like-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally teenagers hanging out with God only knows how old, and definitely solidly late 30s. You know?
But the thing is, at the same time, they were the sidekicks that were essentials of the story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They were-
100%.
Yeah.
They were the Robin, right? Like they were instrumental to the story, because like you guys don't get to the point that they are without Els being able to I mean, because essentially it was Dustin's excitement about the weird steampunky stuff it was supposed to be a throwaway encounter at the very beginning of the fucking game.
Right. Yeah.
Completely blew up the entirety of my fucking thoughts of how that was going to go.
Take notes, DMs.
Right. I feel like every time that Dustin picked up dice and said, "And is this a history check?" I might as well have heard, like, holy dimensional portals, Sark. Like, and now
we're
here's
just
the
shifting over to a different timeline every time.
Exactly. Here's the part where Robin tells us how to get through the next part of things. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun character to play. I will right now. I will give you free reign for him to show back up in any capacity that you feel like. With what we've talked about or not, I don't give a shit. You are welcome to use him as an NPC for pretty much anything you feel like. Because,
perfect,
like you said, he's the good essential sidekick character.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed playing him. It was a lot of fun. He was way more instrumental in things that was happening than I anticipated him being.
and I didn't mean it for that to be, but I'm very glad he was.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
All right, Nate, what you got?
Sark's initial concept is very far away from where he ended up.
Sounds like a theme.
Right.
Well, I think I've said it before, because I think I did it in one of the things, but Sark's initial concept was to be closer to, like, Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of running around and doing that, and he went through a Red Hood phase instead.
Yeah, no shit. Very much so.
Honestly, the more interesting of the two Robins there.
Yeah,
For sure.
uh-huh.
Jason all the way.
Probably, but yeah, it's like I don't know where he's going to end up now, because it's interesting because he was meant to be at the start, like, to play up the idea of being El's automaton.
Right.
Slightly weird, kind of in the back shadows and kept out. And now he's like, meh, fuck it. I can punch most things and survive. So I don't know where he's going. Like, he definitely has come out. He carried most of where we went in the campaign. There was a lot of trauma he dealt with that I wasn't anticipating. It was fun. It was interesting in that regard because it was also very useful to have worked with kids in the foster care system in trying to figure out how Sark would react to things.
Yeah.
Well, I know at one point, I had reached out to you to ask, like, hey man, do you want to like actually engage in things coming up from your past? Because of the way that the story was, and honestly, it's funny. I put a note here, like El, because in reality, even though El had sidekick energy, he was really driving a lot of the campaign. But the driver was in the guise of finding out about Sark.
Right.
Right. And so I was like, I remember asking that. I was like, I loved having the idea and I wanted to keep it in my hip pocket for like weird side quest shit. But it eventually became the main quest. And I'm very glad that it did because it really became really interesting and really emotional and really, I think it brought a lot of the table together, the characters.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was pretty cool.
The first flashback we had, not the first one, second one.
The one in the warehouse where they were hanging.
Yeah, that one was nuts. Like, that one definitely was like, oh, this is the kind of game we're playing.
Right. Yeah. Oh, just straight trauma.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Red Hood phase also probably was not helped by the fact that El was mostly a sociopath.
I mean, yeah.
And was fully willing to enable the person that he considered his brother. Of like, you want to go punch a god? We can go punch a god.
Yeah. Whatever.
D&D, because you can't actually afford that much therapy.
It's fun because this was the first time I'd ever had such interconnected characters as a DM.
Really?
Right. Yeah. So, well, most of I have outside of this table, almost every table I have run for has been I've introduced them to D&D.
Fair.
The only exception was Matt was part of that team on my other table that I still run. Right. So like it was him and me teaching people how to play. So like they didn't know that stuff. So, and they're still feeling themselves out, so it's like, I'm very glad that it was Nate and Dustin with that pairing because it was always going to be complementary and not Chaos Goblin. Like if Matt and John were together,
We're pretty together.
But we didn't
Yeah,
know
yes.
each other. We didn't bring chaos into the fucking campaign.
Right. Yeah.
Like Morgan's dealing with me and Rob being like loosely associated with the same organization and the same species, and that's our not causing too many problems, but it will.
So yeah, Dustin, Nate, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
That's good. It was fun to bounce off of each other, especially like as we were building to like that being the main story, and we're going like, what are we gonna do to fuck with everyone else this week?
What
Oh, I
one thing I
appreciate
thought
that.
that was really interesting about your two characters and how they were very different from each other but complementing each other really well is that L's character would insulate when he wanted to like get into it and figure stuff out, and like he would get in his workshop and he would do the thing. Sark would always go out and go away and go up and kind of get perspective.
Mhm.
Very different. Like I want to see everything, and L's like I only want to see this one thing.
Oh, that's a good point.
That is really good. I didn't think.
I didn't think of it either.
Yeah.
You
Alright.
can see it constantly. You can see it constantly throughout the campaign. Which
It's well for me. The reason I don't always see that kind of stuff is because I'm always trying to I'm so far away, and I'm both and I'm also very granular at the same time. So like I don't always get to pay attention to every little thing. And then I love when you guys can point shit out to that. It's a fucking great point, Curtis.
That was not deliberate. I think that was more just the fact that it was Nate and I playing characters.
and playing the characters that you built, right? Like it was a very natural way for both of those characters to interact with the world, and it was extremely complimentary. And there is elements, right, to these characters of all of our favorite trash sci-fi fantasy television. Like it is very much Dean and fucking Sam.
Winchester.
Right, like it's very much Dean and Sam.
Yep.
It's very much like all of these like tropey kind of duos that we all at this table fucking love.
Behold,
Fully
myself.
recognizing the tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we all know exactly we all know that this is cheesy and dumb. We all know that it's fucking great.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I
like,
definitely
so-
use Chester Brothers as a
a
how does L
scaffold,
respond to this?
right, exactly.
That
Yeah.
involves Sark of like,
Right.
yeah. No, he's gonna end the world for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
all
the
right,
thing.
let's do that shit.
But,
Yeah.
but speaking of tropey and bullshit, John,
Yeah.
your character.
So Skjald was literally 5 sea shanties in a trench coat. I literally just
in a homebrew
in a homebrew subclass, yes, to fit those sea shanties as a character. So
all I
and
had to say was Sky Pirates, and he was in.
yeah, like I was like,
Also, if you're at home, no idea is dumb enough. It'll work in D&D. It's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah,
Yep.
well,
If
and
you
like
think your idea is too dumb, make it a little bit dumber. It'll probably go better.
it'd probably go better. No, like literally.
And that
so
doesn't
like
take anything away from it either.
no,
Like that sounds silly. Like, oh, I'm going to do this joke character. There was all a little bit of joke associated
Every
with
single
all
one
of our
of them.
characters,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the depth of those characters is still right there. Like, you don't miss out on the depth of the character by having a trope or having an idea or a gimmick.
and also using something that is a little bit more superficial, right? Like, granted, the sea shanties that I picked are all fucking heavy as shit when you listen to the lyrics. Like, they're super fucked up songs. I actually like the only thing that I regret is that we never caught Dandy Bill, because that would have been the darkest D&D session any of us ever played. Like
Well, I'm
I
guessing
was
it would have been 2 or 3 really dark sessions.
no, it would have been one. I would have done it all in one. I don't want to take up that much time.
Are you sure?
Forgetting that the
Yeah,
two sociopaths
sure,
were going to be the ones to
Yeah.
bring him to you.
Yeah, no, I get it.
For those of you watching at home, nobody buys that John only wants to take up one session with this shit.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. It doesn't. It carries more weight if it's quicker. That's why it's more dramatic
Okay.
to do it in a single session. Not to respect anybody else's time. It's more dramatic.
There.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, literally, if you listen to the Mariner's Revenge by the Decemberists, it's like the only sea shanty they ever did. But the lyrics are incredibly fucked up. And he describes it like, if you paid attention to any of Skjeld's backstory, his mother died when he was very young. She died of syphilis because of a sailor who shacked up with her, basically ran her to the point where she was dead broke, and then left her with syphilis and dipped out after he ruined their family, like, financially. And then she died and he ended up a homeless child. And in the Mariner's Revenge, he finds the guy. They both end up, he's chasing the guy, like his ship is chasing the guy's ship. They eventually both get swallowed by a whale, and he finds him inside the whale. They both survive the shipwrecks, the respective shipwrecks. And he like nurses the guy back to health and then helps him get out of the whale, and then knocks the dude out. And the guy is awake, tied to a stake in the surf. And he starts explaining to him how he's going to let the crabs eat him after he pulls his fingernails out. Like, it's so fucked up. It is incredibly fucked up. And that's what Skjeld was going to do.
Skjeld.
Yeah, that's what Skjeld was going to do. But
I feel that Skjeld's concept and the character himself didn't change other than to accept the group into his life, right?
So it's really interesting. I created this character to be selfish. He was supposed to be self-serving, self-focused, and selfish. That was the entire intent behind the character. I created him out of these sea shanties with the idea that, like, all of this is a great excuse for him to not give a fuck about anybody else. Again, can't afford therapy, play D&D. And what I thought was really interesting, and I saw it happen really fast, Skjeld immediately gave a shit about Patrice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, day one, Skjeld was like, oh, this guy is naive and untraveled, unexperienced, and is a fucking mark, right? Like, Skjeld in his head is like, if it weren't for the fact that I have now drank with this guy, I would be offering to buy him a drink so that I could rob him. Not even because I need the money, right? Like, I would rob him because how do you not? Yeah, exactly. Like, this is like an immovable force, right? Like, an unstoppable force. I have to rob him. But Skjeld, like, almost immediately, like, put all of his shit on the back burner to try to help everybody around him, which I thought was a really interesting, natural character development of the character. Now, he didn't pass up when he got the opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. But he was also okay with them doing it later. If you recall, like, he was like, we can do this once we figure this other shit out. And it was really more the group that pushed him towards, like, let's handle this now, because it might further what we're trying to do with Sark, right? Like, we might find out some information that helps us figure out what's going on with Sark. And that was, like, the only reason that he went after Delilah. And so it was an interesting dichotomy of, like, this character was designed to be selfish, ends up only wanting to help out his friends with whatever they've got going on, wanting to look out for everybody around him, wanting to make everybody else's life as smooth as possible with whatever skills and knowledge he has. And then when the opportunity arose, was a ruthless fucking murderer as well.
That was fucking cool.
So, like, he was able to occupy these multiple spaces, which I think maybe taught me a little bit something about my own personality on accident. Like, I wanted to learn something about my personality. This is not what I was expecting to learn about.
Speaking of the mark, Curtis.
Dustin, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, I do appreciate that, like, half of us looked at Patrice and just went, you're ours now.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
Wait, was I Meepo?
Yeah. You're
Meepo.
You're Meepo the Goblin.
You were Meepo.
Oh, I love that.
Like, outside
explain Meepo, please.
Like, ooh, this is a person with a conscience.
Yeah.
I need to keep them around so they'll tell me when I fuck things up too
Yeah,
bad.
literally, right? Yeah. I think that was part of Skjeld, too.
A
It was
living,
like,
breathing
like,
litmus test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this idea.
You need to stop.
Why would you do that?
Should
Okay, that's a
probably
bad
consider
idea.
Explain Meepo for the audience.
I'd love to. The only campaign I ran was with Morgan and these fine fellows, and in that campaign, it was the Sunless Citadel, which is part of the Yawning Portal booklet, And just to reiterate earlier, your campaign doesn't go where you expect. Even when you've got like rails that are set up by somebody else,
Pre-written module. Yeah.
goes somewhere else. So within that, there is there's a really sad kobold because his dragon that he was taking care of was taken away, and he misses his dragon, and so these adventurers were like, look how sad this kobold is. Let's help this kobold out. He's kind of became a mascot for the group.
Helped by maybe
also-
enslaving.
We also definitely
It was helped by exploitation.
enslaved the kobold and threw the kobold at things we thought might be traps.
But he thought
Like-
he was getting what he needed. He
Yeah.
thought
He was fulfilled.
Yeah, he got everything he wanted out of the situation until his head melted off of his body.
My favorite,
got it.
My favorite of that whole thing is finding the other 3 kobolds and giving them their leashes to Meepo to be like, "You're in charge of these guys now.
Yeah,
Have fun."
Oh, it was like classic slave master behavior. Like, this is the good slave that runs the bad.
Oh,
like, it was
yeah.
not,
Yeah.
it was not okay.
Yeah.
No part of that was okay.
It was
Very bad.
We did not address it. It was super lighthearted, but man, we fucked up. We were not good.
We were
not
full-blown
good.
murder hobos. Full-blown murder hobos.
We did
It's
just
the
murder
only
hobo the
campaign.
fuck out of that campaign.
That is the only campaign where we have been murder hobos.
It was my first.
It-
That was
it-
my first.
Yeah.
But so Patrice, Curtis, tell us about him.
Yours was our mate, though.
So what? So let's. Can you restate the question? Because I've heard a lot of things. Can we?
How did your character change through the course of the campaign?
So my character concept for Patrice was a young missionary god person that was a special boy that wanted to like prove how special he was. And wanted that to be, he's gonna like, I'm gonna read these books, I'm gonna know these things, and I'm gonna know going in there that I'm gonna do big things. He's got that like main character energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he meets these guys and he's like, no, I don't. I do not have main character energy anymore. I have, is that how we do that? Like he's the Meepo. He played Meepo to a T. He leaned on experience throughout the entirety of that campaign. Whether it was NPCs or PCs, he was learning, he was experiencing, and I think that was really refreshing for me to kind of like, as somebody that like doesn't have a whole lot of new experiences these days, to have a character that everything was new for them was a joy. And I did not expect that going in. I did expect more of like, oh yeah, he's gonna like learn all this cool shit and he's gonna like try and do the cool things, and then he just kind of was learning instead. It was an experience for him to learn about himself and about others. And I would say that the main thing that I feel that like I wanted out of the campaign was to see him come home and for him to be accepted and respected for who he was and all those things. But you know what I learned is that's not what it's about. Like gaining like in my own personal journey, I want somebody to tell me everything's going to be okay, or that I'm good, or that I am an adult, or I am whatever. That's not where it's at. It has to come from within.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you guys, I think my favorite part of the campaign was watching the antagonist to friends arc of Patrice and SOA.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very good. Very
it was so much fun for me because like, I think the best part was that like Levinar didn't give a shit, right? Like if you guys hated each other, he's like, y'all have a fucking job and I don't care if you like each other. And then eventually like them becoming begrudging friends, mostly SOA begrudging, you
Right.
know, and Patrice is like, I want you to be my best friend.
No,
You're cool as
Patrice
shit.
being
I
like,
want to be with you.
Patrice being like, "You are my best friend," not I want you to be. Right? I know that I'm not your friend, but you are my best friend.
He's-
And
he-
SOA finally was like, "I am your friend."
He's got big Ted Lasso energy.
Yeah. But the other thing, and this is kind of to throw a little bit of love out towards Jared's way. The other thing that I really liked was being able to utilize Jared and Sid to kind of explain the trauma and the PTSD of a soldier who has gone through the things that Sid had, and like seeing not only the characters but y'all like understand, and like, because like, you know, we the six of us, the seven of us have all chatted about some of these things, and I get drunk and I talk about shit, and like, but like it was really cool for me to be able to kind of, you know, vicariously through Jared kind of tell these stories and to kind of tell these things, and it was really cool because it's like some of it was very lighthearted as well, like some of the things, so that was really fun too. So real quick, we're gonna just keep not even in order or anything. Favorite NPC?
Ooh,
Frankie.
Frankie was good. Who was the? I can't think of the name, but like the tiefling fortune teller.
Oh God, yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just looked at it because
Yeah.
it was above the post that I just threw up the quote in. It's
It's a T.
I don't have my notes here.
Tamir.
Tamir Al-Kanan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was pretty fucking great.
yeah,
he was good. He was
Yeah.
fun.
yeah. Tamir Arcane
he
was
was
fun.
And Prosperin never disappoints.
Yeah, Prosper is
Right.
pretty fucking
Prosperin's
great.
dope
It's-
as fuck.
It's also hard for me, right? Because like the manager is like my default answer to that question, but
Fair.
I've interacted with the manager a lot, not as SOA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess SOA didn't really interact with Tamir. I just thought Tamir was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
I don't
Prosperin is badass, but also, like Matt, to me, Prosperin was not, as much as she was a very key part of this campaign, she was not from this campaign. Because the first time Prosperin showed up
Right.
was for something that I was running.
Yeah.
Actually, that was not the first time that Prosperin showed up.
That was the first time I saw Prosperin.
Yeah, the first time you guys saw him. So Prosperin is the reason this world exists.
Yeah.
So I was telling,
Right?
say again.
It's a PC Morgan played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PC that you played. Yeah.
So I had a player of mine who wanted to run a game, and she had found this module where you had to create a very traumatic backstory because you were going through a fun house, and all of your backstory was going to come back to play. So I created the story of Prosperin as a necromancer learning vampiric touch and accidentally killing Shirlene.
Mhm.
And then the Lord Richter is the reason that she went, and so that kind of brought this whole thing, which is now, as you know, the Shirlene and the Lord Richter and Prosperin's role in it. And then when Dustin played that game, and I was like, well, I've been wanting to really play this character and to do it. That's when I played Prosperin, and you guys got a chance. But like the Prosperin you meet here is about 25 years after the death of Shirlene, and it is, but it's the whole reason that this world exists. But right now, I think for this campaign, Frankie was my favorite. Just because it made Curtis very uncomfortable.
Frankie was fun.
Curtis blushes back here,
Mm-hmm.
which is something we all learned.
It's the one time, or I always wish I was there, but like I really wish I was there, because usually when I'm flirting with my players, I touch my players, and Nate can attest to this one. One of our other friends, and because it makes them, especially when it's like we're two like het dudes, and it just makes them even more uncomfortable when I'm like, hey baby.
I don't think it has to do with a head. I'm just prude.
Yeah.
That's,
You got a lot of Puritan in you.
yeah,
you know?
I got some proddy in there.
Yeah.
No, but that was that Frankie. I did not mean for Frankie to be as fun as they were, and because like one of my favorite things as a DM is the ability to explore things that I'm not. So like being NB or queer or any of those things. So it's like really fun. And so like characters like Frankie always end up being some of my favorites because it's a chance for me to explore things I think that we all have within us that even like as a super mask presenting dude, like being an NB who's into a dude, like that's something like that's kind of fun to do sometimes. So like that's why Frankie's one of my favorites. So
The seamstress from the Charlene is probably my actual favorite.
yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Mostly because I'm like, I want to know more.
Yeah,
Like
the weird.
Her and the gun crew.
The
'Cause, like,
whole
gun
gun
crew
crew
was
on the
freaking
Charlene.
The gun
ridiculous.
crew is probably my favorite.
That's up there.
The so it wasn't until this is actually the reason I think that you like the seamstress so much, Nate, is because they're loosely based off Ati from Control.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
which also play Alan Wake 2 because Ati's in it.
I gotta play the first Alan Wake. And
No, you don't, because if you played all the way through the DLC, you will know the whole story of Alan Wake 1 through the AWE expansion. But let's
finished Control.
you should. All right, so do we need drinks or can we keep rolling?
I'm good. There's a bottle.
I was like, we also got a bottle of rum.
Yeah,
so
someone-
Let's do the bottle. So okay, let's roll for initiative.
Let's roll. Which one do you want?
Nope, I gotta.
You're really sure.
Yeah, you were grokking on that one. So I don't want to take it away.
I think I have one like this, but Nate's is prettier.
Ooh, you changed mine.
Oh.
Does that? I think.
I think
new
it
one
stands.
stands. New one stands.
New one stands.
All right, 15 to 20.
I got an 18 this time. 15.
Oh yeah. Sorry, 17. I got distracted by rum.
There.
Like you do.
I wish I had my bottle because I have Diplomatico, a really gorgeous bottle. I have a student that gives me gifts every semester, and it's always rum. So the rum is never gone.
With
All right, 10 to 15.
my man, shut up, Eric. Yeah.
Anybody?
10 to 15.
I'll take a little bit.
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
6 again.
What'd you get, John?
2.
Woo!
No.
All right, this one's a little bit broader as we talk about this. So we actually did a thing. We text each other nearly daily, and I had put in our text thread like questions, and the guys came up with really good questions. We're not gonna probably be able to get to all of them, but this one was from Jared, and probably one of my favorite questions. What did you think of the tone of the campaign, and how did it compare to some of our other games? So, what is that? Nate is first.
Of course I am. On this question.
It's a good question, man.
It
It's a good
is.
question.
It's probably our most rooted in character story campaign to date, which made it feel personal the entire time.
Good word.
I agree with that.
So, and like, again, I didn't come in with like expecting Sark to drive the campaign at all, and Sark,
Neither did I.
it was interesting to be that and not be actively looking for it, kind of thing. Where it's like, I need to drive the story because I'm trying to keep people or keep us moving. It was just like, oh no, everyone's invested in this too.
Did we talk about
Okay.
why your name's Sark? Does
I
everybody
don't know if I've actually put that on recording.
Okay.
Yeah, Sark is short for Sarkafu because he came out of a sarcophagus. And the manager is occasionally just a little petty.
He's more than a little petty.
You don't live that long without getting more than a little petty.
He's brought down entire governments because of his pettiness. Ask Matt.
Hey, I really needed that holy symbol. Look. I don't even remember what spell it was. Someone get in the comments and tell me what 8th level cleric spell needs a holy symbol from a different religion. But yeah, I needed one, so we accidentally did a coup.
And made me talk as a plant.
Well, that's
You Crabtree?
that's
I essentially stole Matt Mercer's thing about consent and talking about as a tree.
yeah, it was pretty great. It was pretty great. But like, and to be fair, that table has done much more intentional coups. Like that one was an accident.
It's
Out
D&D.
of 3,
You
that
got
was
coup.
the least
Yeah.
intentional coup.
From time to time, you're gonna kill.
I'm really shocked we didn't accidentally
I mean,
We didn't spend any time
We didn't topple
near
any government.
I know.
well,
No.
we kind of helped fund indirectly.
You did. You have started in motion the downfall of Gansworth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and we have
Which
the
is-
funds to just let it happen.
Which is honestly, I feel like I keep going back to this. Which is one of the things I thought we were going to be doing about a level 10 in this campaign was
Yeah.
like wiping out Gansworth.
Me too.
Right.
That was going to be a level 14, 15 thing. But as we were everyone was getting kind of antsy, and it felt like we really needed to end it. That's the only reason that we, So, but
That's
Nate,
absolutely how Elwood
Yeah.
thinks it should be done. We're just going to buy it.
Mhm.
But no, yeah, the tone is probably the most personal. Therefore, because I was playing Sark and it was Sark's campaign, apparently, was probably one of the heaviest to carry as well.
Matt,
It's interesting because I feel like this group's really good at like kind of like finding that like happy like vibe and happy tone where everyone's having a good time and everyone's kind of like rowing the same way and like committed to telling the same like type of story. That's not like a granted at a D&D table.
Definitely not.
But we've also, I mean, right, like the five of us here have been playing together for about 10 years at this point, and I think Morgan's been playing with us for 8,
Yeah,
Nine.
about right.
9,
Yeah.
right? Like time's a flat circle.
Yeah. Sure is.
It's a
Right. So right, like we all understand how like
Mess.
feeding off each other's energy, right? Because yeah, like tonally, I kind of thought like, hey, we're gonna do a fun pirate game, and then it's
Right.
like, oh no, we're dealing with like
Super
a
heavy
precursor
shit.
civilization and unremembered trauma from that for our friend.
Yeah.
Cool, right?
We took
like
notes
it's-
from real trauma. From
yeah, right.
Right.
Like which is awesome, right? Like because like I love that this group can get really like nitty gritty and heavy into the RP because not everyone that I play Dungeons and Dragons with I can just sit down and just like RP with them for 30 fucking minutes because that's like what the story needs, right?
Right.
It's a privilege. So I love that.
or the opportunity pops up and you're like, oh, we're doing this now.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
we're
that-
doing
this
this
is
now.
what's happening.
Yeah,
Right.
we send
And
a
it's-
text
and
message
it's not-
between the what during the break, like, oh, we're gonna fucking do this. Yeah, we're gonna fucking do this.
And it's also just like it's also not just like having that other person sitting with you at the table who's like ready to do that with you, but it's also like having the grace that the other 5 people at the table are just gonna like sit there and like
And
listen to
watch.
you do your
Yeah.
bullshit for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Like
Occasionally
Like-
interject with a comment.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're us.
Or-
And
because
we're
we're us, right? Like also
Peanut-
like we're
peanut
a
gallery
bunch of
and have
ADHD assholes.
commentary
We've
on the side. Yeah,
acknowledged this.
yeah.
And we
It's
all
the
known each
whole
other long
reason the
enough.
podcast exists. If we're being honest with ourselves.
ADHDAs.
Yes.
Yeah, Morgan, you're more than welcome to use a bunch of ADHD assholes in an intro at some point.
Yeah.
You have my blessing.
Yeah.
Curtis.
The tone of the campaign. I would say it felt heavier than a lot of the other campaigns that we've played. It felt more like the choices that we made mattered
Mhm.
in a way that in other campaigns it didn't seem like, oh, the choices we make at level 5 affect like the people around us. Like I think that was like our choices mattered for Haven, they mattered for Gansworth, as you just mentioned, they mattered for all sorts of stuff, and that's like, and they mattered personally to our characters too. So I think that it was a little heavier, and that I did not expect that going in. I definitely expected more piratey stuff.
Mhm.
That was the goal.
I know.
Yeah, right? Like we're
That
all
was
like,
what it was. That was what it was marketed as. Like,
Right,
I got a boat. Let's fucking kill some shit on a boat.
For those of you who haven't heard us say this, because I don't know if we've said it on our recording, right? Like, the whole idea behind this campaign was Haven already existed in Morgan's world. and Curtis bought a pirate ship
Mhm.
mini, and this is before Morgan had moved. And it's about as and we're like, oh, we need to just base an entire campaign around the fact that we have a pirate ship.
Yep. Lots of cannons and stuff.
So
And then-
many cannons. I
and
bought
then
extra cannons.
Morgan moved, and it was like, well, it's a huge fucking pain in the ass to play with minis with our GM
yeah.
digital. So we adapted, and
Well, and
honestly-
honestly, a lot of this, the shape of that comes from y'all's decisions.
well, I was going to
Oh,
say
yeah,
we
yeah.
probably had a much better campaign
Yeah.
because of having to adapt to not being able to use the silly pirate ship, the silly $300 pirate ship.
It was not. It was a Kickstarter. It was $100.
Oh, well, there you go.
And
Who's-
speaking of which, there's a Kickstarter right now for another pirate ship
Oh.
that I have chosen not to
Can
get.
you
I'm
send
like,
me
it
the
looks
link?
good. It would be nice. Dude, wouldn't it be nice to have two pirate
Yes, it
ships
would. Send me the
going
link.
broadside? It's Dungeons and Lasers. It's out right now. It's like $100,
Posted
and
it somewhere.
for John, it's the you know the style of plastic that a Games Workshop uses.
Yeah.
it's made with that, but in Poland.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So before we get too much more sidetracked,
Curtis isn't allowed to buy any more pirate ships until he paints the first one.
Curtis, is there anything else you have to say about that?
The tone.
tone.
I would say the tone was heavier than I expected.
Okay, Dustin, what do you have to say?
Like everybody else, it was definitely not what I expected going in. Definitely felt like I was accidentally hijacking the planned campaign continuously and couldn't figure out how to stop.
That sounds awesome. I like it so much.
I want to be that person.
Just trying to keep playing my character. I just couldn't figure out how to actually get us back to being pirates or actually start being pirates.
We did one piracy adjacent thing, and now the fate of the universe lies in our fucking hands.
And we
Whoops.
didn't do it on a boat.
Right, it wasn't even on a boat. I mean, I had a whole plan for like how to capitalize on ships and build an armada so that we could go and topple the what are they called, the elves.
Were they,
Oh yeah,
were they elves?
but the thing is that that was the unintentional coup was those elves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
They
well,
were
I
already done.
intentionally coup. I had a plan for intentional coup, but yeah.
But overall, it was a lot less Monty Python than I expected.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
We definitely hit some like Ministry of Silly Walks levels, but
Right. Never got quite to
we never hit Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
or-
Yeah, exactly.
So watch us
Right.
watch us try to do something serious next, and then we apologize when it just devolves entirely into dick jokes and nothing else.
Yeah,
Because
probably
it's
gonna happen.
coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So, all right. So building on that, John,
Nice.
what's your take on the tone of the campaign?
So I was actually really proud of us because we do have a tendency to descend into dick joke delirium. But I felt like we did a good job of striking a good balance between like heavy moments were heavy, serious moments were serious. We did a really good job, I felt, of in deploying gallows humor to lighten situations as they needed to be in a way that allowed them to still have gravity, which I thought was really cool. Because
It's
like,
not like any of us have a naturally dark sense of
I
humor.
mean, we all do have very, but it could also have very easily gone to the point of absurdity, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we all have that absurdist kind of sense of
Yes.
humor streak. But I felt like we did a good job of like kind of, in a way, respecting,
The game.
yeah, respecting the game, respecting the context of the scenes that we found ourselves in, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
And we had like some really fucking great dialogue, sometimes around really important shit and sometimes around really seemingly unimportant shit, in a way that made it very like organic and lifelike. And, you know, like, you could go back and listen to just about any 5 to 15 minutes of RP dialogue and be like, yeah, that's like basically fucking screen written dialogue from a show. Like, that's how good of a job we did with our interplay between us, that I feel like you could literally like structure and actual production off of some of those conversations. You know,
If you're taking any clip, which show it is may vary.
right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're not HBO.
No,
CW.
no, yeah, fully
Yes.
CW. Yeah,
We had a couple of like HBO moments.
yeah. We had several HBO scenes.
Consistently
Right?
CW.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, we had several HBO scenes.
Well, which
We
CW
ran
are
a
you talking
CW.
about? Are you talking about Arrowverse CW? Because that's pretty dark and serious.
I was gonna
Sure.
say, right, like this is the 100. It's way better than it has any fucking right.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be,
exactly.
Right.
The budget
But,
is
like,
way fucking lower
it's
than
not-
you think.
Yeah, and it's like how are they pulling this off? Right.
Yeah.
It's not Game of Thrones where you get to the end and you're like, how did this get so bad?
Right? Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's like oh this
This
doesn't
was
suck.
way better than I thought it
We
was.
bounced
Yeah.
between that and Altered Carbon. The
Yeah.
first season of Altered Carbon.
Yeah, like
and
literally. Yeah,
the
yeah,
100.
absolutely. Yeah,
Well, and like for me as a DM,
it is.
one of the things that I tell this to a lot of other DMs, like, you know, because one of the dangers is that when you go from being a DM to a player is there's a little bit of a letdown, right? Because it's like you run the game that you wish you can play in.
Right.
Right. Like when I first, I mean, you guys were there for my first time ever DMing that like 6-hour session, 12,
Yeah.
whatever it felt like. And it was very combat heavy because that's what I thought I was going to enjoy as a DM.
Mhm.
And then come to find out, like, I'm the uber, like, I can never have enough RP in my games because most players get bored with my level of RP. And it's just like, so I end up tending to run these heavier and I don't ever mean to, but I think I unintentionally create these plot hooks that lead themselves to these more intellectually, you know, serious and heavier thoughts but they do have a lot of fun moments of brevity within it, you know. So it's like, so if you're wanting me in your game, make sure that it's very RP heavy and very dark.
Right.
Because then I'm happy. I'm happy.
All of us.
Yeah,
so
for
it was
sure.
shipwrecked and almost died and isn't really sure how she got back.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
No,
lightest
no,
backstory. still.
Patrice's is the
Well,
lightest.
okay, Patrice had the lightest backstory. Yeah.
He's got
He
kind
has
of a
he
fucked
has
up
married
family
parents that
dynamic.
support him.
Yeah, his family's actually really good compared to most characters.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
His family's really good compared to most families.
Yeah, also that. Yeah.
That too.
That's like the previous campaign that Nate ran for us, where me and Matt played twin siblings whose parents were just like a celestial postman and a celestial
Right.
DMV worker who really loved us and supported us, and
Yeah,
that's why we were
yeah.
in the material plane doing what we were doing. It was like a summer abroad sort of thing that just kind of stuck for a few extra years.
You were,
Like-
you were doing
Well, I think-
Rumspringa.
Yeah, I think like literally Rumspringa for
I think I put
for
it.
Asimar.
I think
Yeah.
I put in our backstory. It was just like we had like the most boring generic parents, but we were special because we were twins.
Right, exactly.
Right? It was
That
something
the
like
thing
that,
made us
right?
special,
Like
yeah.
it was like we were special for some reason,
yeah.
but also like we had living parents who were just like
who loved each
low-level
other.
bureaucrats.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
who were still
yeah.
married.
And my character killed John's character.
Lopped his head off. Yeah.
Lopped his head off. So
Traumatized Matt's character.
Repeated.
I didn't
Justin
traumatize
Joseph
Matt's
Trump.
character this campaign
No.
at
He did
all.
Not even once.
The first time in the
No.
campaign we played.
I only have a couple more here. We're gonna wrap this up here real quick. Number one, this one should be really quick, so everyone go ahead and roll initiative.
Hey,
Oh,
double
all right.
digits. Oh, there you go.
All right, 15 to 20.
20.
Drink, motherfucker, drink.
Curtis rolled a 1.
Yep.
We'll get there here in a minute.
I'm not doing any more, my lord.
So Nate's the 20.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm also doing it.
Anyone else 15 to 20?
Apparently not.
10 to 15?
12.
5 to 10. 1 to 5.
4.
3.
And then natural 1. So drink, motherfucker, drink.
Already out.
Cheers.
It's done. Maybe there's something in here. Dregs.
Thank God that's good bourbon.
That's
Yeah.
That was real quick back to back. Because that was my last beer that I just drank.
fine. Maybe we do both of these off of this initiative order, so we don't chance another.
Yeah,
That would be a good call.
fine with that.
All right, so here, number one, or the first question, the first of the last two. What was your most memorable moment of the campaign?
I mean, I touched on it already. It was Sark's first really, like, full-on recall, and he sees the hanging other Warforged and lives the screaming in there and the alarms like that. I was like, oh, okay. And it was like his reactions were all based on working with kids in the foster care system who don't know how to process things that they have to deal with. Like, just, I need to break something that's causing the problem or that I think is causing the problem. Like, that was his whole reaction of stuff. So, like, that turning point for Sark is definitely sticks out for me.
Yeah, John.
Honestly, I think the same. Like, actually, I think it was Sark's first, like, heavy recall in that facility in the cave that we had to get into, where he was, like, almost, like, getting possessed by the spirits of these Warforged and stuff. Like, that was super intense. And then, like, also, as a player observer, player character, not knowing what's happening, right? So, like, player knowing exactly what's happening because I'm hearing the same shit that Nate's hearing. And then as a player character, just seeing one of my comrades go down and twitch, essentially, right? Like, and having that dichotomy of, like, knowing how heavy it is, what's happening to this other player character, and then also having my player character just be worried about his friend because he has no idea what's happening, was like a cool sort of experience of, like, simultaneously knowing how heavy it is and having and being worried because you don't know how heavy it is. So that was a really cool experience for me.
Matt.
All right, I'm going to cheat. Character moment. SOA and Sark, with Sark learning to right play the pan flute, and then just like ridiculous badass thing that we did was dive bombing the fucking Shirlene.
That was fucking
Island, right? Like, that was
timing it with the thunderclaps and the cannons.
When you guys were taking out Delilah.
Yeah,
we're going to take out
so
Delilah.
good.
That was
so
Sark
cool.
becoming a kinetic weapon?
Dude, like, talk about straight up superhero moment.
Yeah.
Except we're not heroes.
That was so much fun because it was so outside the bounds, and it was really fun because it wasn't necessarily tied too much to the main story, but it really alleviated some of the consternation of, like, Skjald, right?
Yeah.
Some of the things that he had dealt with, and just, like, but also having the brevity of, like, we're just gonna jump off a fucking ship.
Well, and it also, like,
after we dropped the ship basically into a pocket dimension because it was the only way to fucking get there.
Dive bombed into
and
the
then we're like,
dimension.
let's go.
It also, I thought it was a really cool beat within the story because it showed what fucking badasses all of these characters are. Where, like, a lot of our story is more cerebral and less straight up badassery. And, like, so why is it, you know, Skjald the Fell-Handed? Why do people give a shit about this crew, this motley crew, right? Like, who's afraid of these people? And then we do that, and it's like, there's a fucking reason that people are afraid of us. We fuck shit up when we want to. We're just generally fairly kind individuals, so we don't murder you.
We tip well.
Yeah, exactly. We tip well.
Well, and also, right, like the party, just because of the nature of the story that we all didn't anticipate ourselves telling, right? Like, the party spent so much of its time basically, you know, running around archaeology digs, accidentally flipping a button and then having to deal with it, right? Like, it's way more the Mummy than
It really is.
like the epic fantasy story that we all thought we were going to tell, right?
Right, yeah.
We're just not as hot as Brendan Fraser and Rich.
We are
Rich
not.
Not even
We
a
are
little
not.
bit. Not
We
even a
wish.
little
We are
bit.
not.
Dustin.
By Awakening.
I've got two of them that I can't decide between. Because the first one was one of the moment that solidified Elle's character for me was after the first time something came out of the portals when we were still on Avon.
Yeah.
We captured one of the giant Dragonborn, took it prisoner, and then Prosperin showed up, and Elle was basically like, "We found this. Do you want it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
And the other one was also a fairly big turning point for Elle's character of the same thing that Nate and John mentioned of Sark having those revelations. Because as far as he was concerned, that was his brother that just got electrocuted
Right.
and is now very much not in a good place.
Right.
And like I said, Elle's kind of a sociopath and has no idea how to deal with that. Doesn't know how to deal with someone being upset normally, let alone having their entire worldview shattered. Because I think that was right after that we finished recording. That is when I sent you the text about the plan that Elle had.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be a major factor in the world later.
Yeah.
You becoming a big bad in a campaign now?
It's
I
not
don't think he'd become a big bad, but I think he would be a late, like a late level NPC
Not a
ally.
villain ally? Okay.
Yeah.
He's too.
He could.
Elle is too neutral to really be
A villain.
villain outside of a few very specific circumstances.
Right.
He would be a good character where like everybody shows up and they're like, "We're gonna kill this," and it's just like, "Oh yeah, that thing. Oh yeah, I made that. Yeah, like ooh, that happened.
Weird.
Oh yeah, that makes sense that would happen."
I gotta go write that down.
Yeah. I gotta go write that down. Actually, I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah.
Here's how you kill it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
go
then
write
I'm gonna write
that
that
down.
down. Also,
Yeah.
if that works, come back and tell me because I need to write that down too.
and if that works and you're able to pull it off, I might have a job for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis, what's your favorite moment?
I got three.
Go. Give them to
But
me.
the interaction of Patrice and SOA learning about where Patrice is learning Lebanar's name, the fact that he wasn't special enough and he thought he was some hot shit, and getting to play a character that had been overly nice the entire campaign, overly excited and happy and joyful, to see him hit that like, what the fuck? Like, shit's not supposed to work out like this. It's supposed to, fuck. Him learning he's not the main character.
Doing all the right things and not having the outcome he was
Yeah. Like, I did everything right. I'm prodigal son type
Right.
issue. Like, he's the son that stayed
That
home,
stayed, yeah.
and he doesn't get the fatted calf, which in this instance is knowing who his God is, like
Right.
knowing the name of his God. So that's one, and it was just so much fun. It was so much fun, and it was real. It felt good. And then I would say, for me personally, it was a journey to learn through Frankie about pronouns and about learning to be okay in my cisness and how to experience that and learn about it, and being in a space where I can get it wrong over and over and over. I can say the wrong pronoun and have people remind me like, "Hey, do this." I'm like, I'm trying. I'm gonna screw up, but thank you for giving me the grace to be able to screw up, and I am legitimately sorry, and I want to get those right because they're important to people. So that was another one, and then I really enjoyed the interactions with where Elle got electrocuted. and it happened a few times. But like, where L is when L would do things, and like your interactions with L were like, oh, what do I need to roll?
Because it's not the like. Oh God, it probably doesn't help that y'all can't see Dustin. We can,
Right.
but it's not the like the DM being like, do you really want to do that? Like you're gonna hurt yourself. You're being dumb. It's like it's Dustin knowing exactly what he's doing,
Yeah.
and L probably knowing exactly what he's doing.
Also knowing,
and Morgan just have to be like, so consequences.
right, yeah, literally.
Yeah, the first time El got electrocuted, he had no idea what was going to happen. The other times, we're making sure it would happen every time he pushed the button.
Right.
Yes.
That's called
Yes.
proving a theory.
Yeah, because it was the Does that happen every time?
It happened again.
That's only a sample size of 2.
Right. Is the experiment repeatable?
I loved it. I loved every single time it happened
That's how
across
you
the
know it's science.
entirety of Liberarth. We went several different places and L got electrocuted or blew something up right in his own face. Or I mean, that's
Almost
how he
melted
kills a
himself.
dragon.
Or almost
essentially.
melted reality.
Yeah. So it was
Ate
great.
himself.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that my favorite moment was as everyone was coming out of the crypts in Bergheim, where Patrice kind of stepped to the side and cast Legend Lore on Shirleen's
Who's the other one?
Shirleen's grave or crypt, and one, it was exciting for me to be able to essentially give the real world lore about how this world came about, and then watching Curtis's reaction as I tell this horrendously traumatic story, and like then as he comes back to kind of see that connection between Prosperin and the Lord Richter, and just kind of being like to understand, because it's funny because like initially the entire group was like, no, we're going to change that fucking name of that ship.
Yeah.
And then I think eventually everyone realized how important that name was, not just to Prosperin, but like just in general, just to kind of honor that person. And the name never got changed. Right. And that was a big part of it. That was one of my favorite moments.
Right. Yeah. I think we joked once after that about like, you know, just like if we need to change the name of the ship, we'll temporarily call it the Lurleen. You know, like
It was a joke, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna keep the same order. So Nate, we're gonna start with you. Do you see what do you see the future for Sark? What do you see the future for your character?
He straight up, he will fund a orphanage, probably multiple orphanages around, and just be the silent patron of these. Like, here, take care of kids. Here's money. Probably too much. Have fun. And disappear. But he's also probably going to move like Denzel Washington's Equalizer. Just find somewhere else to set up shop and correct some things.
Valid.
Yeah.
Very valid.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Which is why he's keeping the pocket dimension to himself and the crew, because he's like, no, that's now my base of operations to go to when I need to hide and disappear for a little while.
John.
I think Skjald probably largely just continues traveling with his companions and doing whatever shenanigans they get up to, and surreptitiously murdering everybody on his hit list as it's convenient. Like, I think it's much less of a
As it's convenient.
as it's convenient.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not going out of his way like, we have to go here to get this person. He's like, oh, we're gonna go over there, huh? I heard a thing about a person, and I might have to make a quick pit stop on this other place on the way there. If you guys are up for it, you know. And everybody's like, we know what that means. We're gonna go murder somebody. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna go murder.
You guys in the audience and everyone else knows, John sent me a fairly significant hit list.
Yeah, it was not.
I think it was double digits of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was like 15 people.
It was fairly significant, and I was like, I texted him. I'm like, Dude, we may get 2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I said I'd be fine with 1.
And we got
I'd be fine with 1, but I want it to be one of these 3.
and we got the big one.
And we got one of the probably the second biggest, which I'm super fine with because it would have been super fun to RP killing Dandy Bill
Mhm.
and incredibly dark, which I think would have been a fun thing to just like toss onto this campaign that was already pretty fucking heavy. It also would have made the hit list less important.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he got the main person, so getting the second to main person is almost like better because it leaves something important for him to do in the aftermath, you know? And also like killing Delilah was very satisfying.
Yeah.
Like
That was fun.
both for
Yeah.
Skald and for me. So just killing some demons in RP, you know, no big deal.
So yeah.
I imagine Sark coming back from one of his random disappearances with someone and going, "Son, you should talk to him," and just
Yeah.
leaving again, and someone going, "Huh, that's convenient."
Yeah. No, like literally
Here we
just
are.
like
Sometimes
oh,
the convenience
yeah.
comes
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Matt.
So right, like there's a lot of stuff I can see SOA doing, right? Because one, she's still like beholden to Haven and Levinar and wanting to protect Haven and keep Haven as what it is. So, you know, making sure Gansworth isn't a threat is something she's always going to be at least cognizant of if she's not there. But I think she's also going to keep traveling with her friends. I mean, especially Skald and Patrice, depending on what everyone else is up to. I also think SOA was like probably pretty down to like work for the manager if it came up.
Mm.
Right? If like that offer rolled across and she wasn't like feeling like she had to do something else and she felt like Haven was safe, I think she would do it. Because the only thing that really held her back from doing that when the offer was made was like having just recently kind of taken up that oath with Levinar and making that deal and still being worried about you know like other powers in the belt affecting Haven's legitimacy.
Mm.
Or legitimacy is the wrong word. You know what I mean.
Yep.
Sovereignty, yeah.
Dustin, what you got?
I think other than pursuing his new goal, which is he's aware is going to be a fairly long-term one, will probably mostly just be facilitating the crew. He's definitely going to be making investments through whoever he can, because they're stupid rich already.
Yeah.
He wants more money because he knows at some point he's probably going to have to hire an army after Sark pisses somebody off.
Also valid.
And
Also-
he's planning to be prepared for that.
Can we take a minute to notice that like Dustin is very intentionally not telling us what this fucking goal is and it's pissing me off.
It definitely
Good, I'm glad it's
is.
annoying somebody.
Yeah, it's annoying me too, don't worry.
Yeah.
I
Doing a whole
fully like
campaign
it.
about
This
like
is Dustin.
being a dick to one of my characters, and here we are.
I
Yeah,
need
he
to
didn't
traumatize your character.
Yes,
this time.
traumatizing
This is how he's
directly,
taking
that's
it out on
right.
me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's
Checks out.
fully behind. He will probably be the driving force for Skald to go through the rest of his list of just keeping the list open with the manager and anybody who sells information. And every time a name pops up, you're just like, hey, we're going to go here and take care of something.
Yeah. And that's probably the only way that Skeld gets through his list. So
But he will also, if SOA is like, yeah, I'm really kind of worried about Gansworth because we've talked about it, I think, in game.
yeah,
Definitely.
We have.
A lot.
Should we go take over Gansworth today?
yeah.
Well, if you guys remember, oh god, I can't remember the island where you guys got the
Our residuum.
The
the residuum.
Right.
That was the Gansworth kind of essentially a slave operated mine.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was the place that I was thinking. Like we basically facilitated the overthrow of Rugen's government at the very least. Like I know that it's just
Mhm.
like an outpost, but
That
like
was like a Fucking
pretty effectively overthrew that place by doing next to nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Curtis.
What is Patrice going to do? Patrice is going to take Frankie to brunch.
There you go.
yeah.
Foremost,
Oh,
he's got brunch plans, and
With that sexy thing that, oh man, Frankie.
yeah. So I think he's gonna explore his sexuality because he hasn't.
Yeah, fair.
He hasn't. He's a strapping lad that needs to learn about his body. And
they are gonna teach. Patrice.
yeah,
They are
yeah,
gonna
but
teach Patrice.
yeah, characters end up being like us a little bit. You're looking for somebody to teach.
Yeah.
Oh god. So
As far as I'm
that's
concerned,
probably
that's where
first.
I'll learn too.
Right.
So definitely that's like the first thing on his agenda is to learn about relationships and learn about sexuality probably, and then he's gonna keep hanging with his buds. He's part of the crew. He wants to be part of the crew. He wants to experience more of the world. He wants to taste all the things and smoke all the things and experience that with his friends. Because he has learned that experiences are better when you got friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he's going to go home
Yeah.
and he's going to help. That's he doesn't have any other plans. He's like, I'm going to go home, make sure the home is safe, make sure that the home is great. He's going to do his best.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you as always for joining us. This wasn't really an adventure of cooperative storytelling, but it was really fun to recap and to kind of reflect on what I thought was a fucking awesome story. So thank you guys. I love you all so much for allowing me to tell this story. Like I can't tell you how much it means to me just for you guys to allow me to have the opportunity to tell this story. So thank you for all of that. As always, if you want to engage with us in a more active way, please click the links below. Point. There you'll find the Discord, the Instagram, everything. Keep keeping track of what is happening. We've got things happening. Patreon is coming soon. Join the Discord because very soon there's going to start being some Discord exclusives. So join the Discord if you haven't yet. But thank you again so much for joining us in this adventure of cooperative storytelling of Craft Beer Cocktails. And until next time, y'all, drink well.
Drink well. And get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Get some comments.